Heat between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton after off-script promo segment, the Young Bucks return to All Elite Wrestling, and my full review of AEW Dynasty. I am Luke Owen and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Look, I think we can all agree that since the start of 2025, SmackDown has been mid, with the move to 3 hours that, reportedly, those in WWE believe has made the show worse. But there have been some episodes that stand out. This week's episode, for example, had Kevin Owens reveal a neck injury that requires surgery, meaning he is going to miss this year's WrestleMania, and the reveal of Paul Heyman's favor to CM Punk. And there was also a rather tense promo segment between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. Despite featuring the women's champion and the winner of the 2025 Royal Rumble, much like SmackDown as of late, the fan reception to the build for Stratton vs. Flair at WrestleMania has been, at best, mid. And a few weeks ago, Flair and Stratton had an awkward split-screen promo segment where, reportedly, Flair went off script, and because Stratton stayed on script, she came off looking weak. But on this week's SmackDown, the same could not be said. Towards the end of the segment, Stratton brought up Charlotte Flair's recent divorce from Andrade and her previous 2 divorces, saying when it's all said and done, you're going to be just like you are outside of the ring, alone. What is that record? Like 0-3? Flair, who'd been booed heavily by the crowd, responded that Ludwig Kaiser, the IRL boyfriend of Stratton, was in her DMs. WrestleVotes reported Charlotte and Tiffany said very little of what was in the rundown for them. Off script, quite a bit. PW Insider also report that Stratton and Flair went off script, and Stratton's comments were retaliation for the split-screen interview a few weeks back. He adds that the crowd reaction to Flair threw her off, with one source saying her Kaiser comment was a flailing shot from a boxer who didn't realize they were KO'd, and that Flair was obviously gotten to. WWE did post the promo segment to Twitter, but then deleted it. The YouTube version of the segment has the off-script lines edited out. Fightful Select report this was a specific directive. They add the belief was that this situation has been boiling over for a while. Dave Meltzer adds in his own report, what we were directly told is that the situation has been brewing, and those close to the situation said neither was in the right, but that Flair is taking most of the heat. Fightful Select write, we've not heard of any further altercation backstage, but heard that Charlotte Flair didn't appear to be pleased. They add that Flair is known to go off script in her promo segments, and this was Stratton standing up for herself. One source told them going at Charlotte in that manner can be daunting, but it's something every talent has to be willing to do to keep up with her and not get run over. Meltzer adds that while Stratton's divorce comments were off script, the segment went off the rails earlier than that. Sean Rossap corroborates this, writing at least one source to Stratton claimed that Charlotte went off script first, then Stratton fought back. Fightful add management wasn't happy with either woman from what we're told. Meltzer reports similar, writing one person very close to the situation wouldn't provide any specific details past that there was heat on both, and neither was the good guy. For what it's worth, Worked Wrestling posted on Twitter that any comments made about Charlotte Flair's divorce would have been agreed to ahead of time. But what do you make of all of this? Let me know in the comments down below. But now it's Monday, you know what that means. Here is my review of a terrific AEW Dynasty. This very hot Philly crowd were on fire for the opening match, a first-round Owen Hart tournament bout between Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight, which accomplished 2 things in advancing Ospreay in the tournament and making a name for Kevin Knight. He came off as a big deal, constantly finding reversals for Ospreay's key spots until he was finally caught with a Styles Clash and Hidden Blade for the win. A fantastic opening match, and Fightful Select have confirmed that it was supposed to be Jay White versus Will Ospreay before White's injury. The Hurt Syndicate retained their AEW Tag Team Championships against the Learning Tree when MJF hit Big Bill with a Dynamite Diamond Ring from the crowd, and Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin murdered poor Brian Keith in the ring. Bobby and Shelton did not appear pleased with Max's interference, as it clearly was not the plan. The Owen Hart tournament continued as Mercedes Moné beat Julia Hart to advance to the semi-finals, with this crowd really wanting to see Julia get the win, not helped by Moné botching her arm drag spot early. Hart looked very good in the match, and Moné gave her a lot, even surviving 2 statement makers before Moné rolled her up to get the win. Turned into a really good match by the end. The Death Riders retained their trios titles over Rated FTR in a very fun match, helped by a very hot crowd who wanted to boo their local boy Wheelie Yuta. better. Dax and Claudio doing dual sharpshooters while slapping the taste from each other's mouths was ace, and the finish saw Cope nearly spear Dax but stopped himself, and Yuta bonked their heads and hit the Busaiku knee for the win. But the real story came after the match. After weeks and weeks of tension, Dax celebrated with Cope and Cash, but then hit a devastating piledriver on Copeland. He went to get a couple of chairs to hit the concerto and offered the second chair to Cash, but Cash wouldn't do it. This is his friend. This is a man who opened up his house to him. He helped Cope up and then dragged him into a shadow machine, heel FTR once again. They then mocked Cope as he was being taken away by the EMTs in what was a great angle. Cope will now need a new tag partner, and it just so happens that an old friend of his is having his own faction issues, and it might totally reek of awesomeness. Speaking of reeking of awesomeness, that's hard to say, Toni Storm got a rocky feature presentation for her match with Megan Bayne, training to attempt to overcome this unbeatable Ivan Drago beast. CM Punk did not understand this reference. The match continued this story brilliantly, as has the whole build, which is that Storm isn't sure she has enough to overcome Bayne. She hit her hip attack, but Bayne no-sold it, so she headbutted her back into position and hit 3 more and the Storm Zero, and Bayne still kicked out at 1. Bayne set up to hit Fate's Descent, but Storm managed to steal victory away from the jaws of defeat with a roll-up. A great finish to a great match. It made Bayne look fantastic and protected her in that she never hit her final move, and I hope that this push does continue, but hoping for sustained pushes in the AEW Women division has never done me any favors. In your regularly scheduled This Could Have Been on Dynamite or Collision match of the evening, Kyle Fletcher took on Mark Briscoe in a first round match for the Owen Hart tournament. That said, it was a hell of a match, accentuated by a crowd who wanted to cheer Mark Briscoe, who is from Delaware, which, I was informed by commentary, is close to Philadelphia. I, for one, was grateful for this information, as the only reason I know Delaware is even a place is because I've seen Wayne's World. Fletcher won with the Turnbuckle Brainbuster. One of the great magics of pro wrestling is that even if your TV build has been lackluster or pretty uninteresting, a good hype video package can make it look like amazing TV build and absolutely captivating. Case in point, Chris Jericho vs Bandido. The match itself was pretty decent, with Bandido doing the stalling suplex for a whole 60 seconds, which was impressive. Brian Keith ran interference but was stopped by the man who forgot Pac, and Jericho used his baseball bat to get the surprise win. Surprising, as this was a mask versus title match, which really telegraphed a Bandido win. But it was all for the shenanigans, as Bandido's mum and sister narked on Jericho to the officials, who then restarted the match, and Bandido hit the 21-plex for the win. Not really for me, but the live crowd enjoyed it. A consistent problem with AEW pay-per-views is how long they are, how many matches they have, and how little downtime there is between them. It can sometimes lead to good matches suffering because the crowd is a bit burned out. And the previous 2 matches had set in a bit of a malaise within the crowd, who were just ready to see Kenny Omega and the main event, which meant Adam Cole winning the TNT Championship from Daniel Garcia landed a little flat. They told a great story and did everything right, but sometimes you can't overcome a tired crowd. Thankfully, they came alive again for Kenny by God Omega, who had a tremendous triple threat with Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey. Imagine the Unbreakable 2005 main event, but everyone is AJ Styles. Legit, incredible scenes all over the place, with all 3 men getting their spit in. Poor Mike Bailey's knees, which took an absolute battering in this match. The finish was awesome, as Ricochet went for an avalanche vertigo on Bailey, but Omega hit a middle rope one-wing angel on Ricochet, and Bailey fell into the Tree of Woe, meaning he couldn't break up the pinfall. And speaking of incredible scenes, Kazuchika Okada came out for a stare down with Kenny Omega, setting up their all-in title unification match. And the main event saw Jon Moxley defend the AEW World Championship against Swerve Strickland, which had a much better main event feel than Mox vs Cope from Revolution. Mox busted Swerve open through sheer violence, setting up a brilliant comeback for the challenger, and the match went into full pandemonium mode towards the end. Marina Shafir got in, so Nana stopped her, but she cracked him with a briefcase. Mox then went to give Swerve the cutter, but he sidestepped and Mox hit it on Shafir instead. Both men then ended up on top of a ladder, and Swerve hit the Swerve Stomp to Mox through the Spanish announce table. Ow! The ref got bumped when Moxley absolutely twatted a chair into his face, which brought out Hangman Page, and he didn't exactly target either man, but it was enough for the Death Riders to target him. He managed to fight them off and hit the Deadeye on Mox. The Ops ran down for a brawl with the rest of the Death Riders. Page got taken out, Swerve hit the Swerve Stomp, and the lights went out. And when they came up, the Young Bucks had returned to All Elite Wrestling and hit the BTE trigger on Swerve to give Mox the win. I think some people will be upset that the reign of Mox continues, and I am one of them despite predicting that Mox would retain. But the ending was so chaotic and there's so much intrigue over the Bucks being involved that I actually kind of don't mind. It made me want to see Dynamite this coming Wednesday at the very least. And it capped off a very good pay-per-view with brilliant action from top to bottom. It was too long and about 3 matches too many, but it's not enough to stop me giving it a very big thumbs up. And the Monday Night War continues between myself and Ollie Davis on WWE 2K25's MyGM mode, and you can catch up with the latest episode by clicking the video on screen right now.